All right, we are on. Hello and welcome to we don't have a name yet, but I think we're going to call it the Dismal Tide. We've taken that. Hello and welcome to the Dismal Tide NBA preview. I'm Mike. I've got Seth on the line here, who
Oh,
came up with this little idea to review all the NBA teams before the season.
yeah. I've been meaning to do an NBA preview for a while. I think we should subtitle this episode "Basketball" as an offshoot of my other currently permanently on hiatus podcast, Power Walk into Jonestown. I do not expect to ever record another episode of that, but Mike Whalen and I have discussed in the abstract turning all of the sort of podcast umbrella, the Dismal Tide, Power Walking to Jonestown, into a YouTube channel that basically anybody can upload anything onto. So basketball highlights, get Liam or Ryan to talk about music. Maybe the once every 5 months, Mike can clear his schedule and actually talk about conspiracy theories with me. That would be all great. But for now, we're starting with an NBA preview that's near and dear to our hearts, and yeah, we'll go from there.
Yep. So let's just hit off with our Atlanta Hawks. And for this preview, we are looking at how these teams will do and how much they should suffer and deserve the death that is coming for 31 NBA teams. And really,
31.
even aren't there 30? How many teams? I don't know.
We have not expanded to uh Las Vegas or Seattle yet, although we're certainly heading in that direction. But no, it's still 30 for
Well,
now.
even the third, or even the team that wins eventually, winning means nothing because you just get yelled at, as I'm learning as a
This
Celtics fan.
this is true, and also the tendency is to just asterisk every single championship win. So yeah, death is coming for us all, regardless of winning or losing. And but yeah, I mean, you alluded to, I think, a little bit to the suffering index, if you want to put that back on screen. And that's pretty. I think, yeah, you can see where the direction we're going to take this in is how much does each team deserve suffering, how much each team will suffer. Try to put a more unique spin on just sort of a generic prediction preview recording, because certainly there's any number of websites and other podcasts that are doing just that. But I don't think anybody is really digging into the level of, let's say, moral turpitude that, say, the Charlotte Hornets have. But
That's
yeah,
right. They are going to be far to the right on
oh
this
yes,
in many ways.
as are
Um,
most of their fans politically, but that's neither here nor
yeah.
there. But yeah, if you want to start off, let's start off with the Atlanta Hawks. The only time the Atlanta Hawks are ever relevant is because of their place in the alphabet, as the only A team in the NBA. I guess they're the only A team. Atlanta teams are the only A teams in sports, right? I guess Austin doesn't really.
That's right. I don't think
Yeah,
we have any other ones. So,
yeah.
to lead us off with Atlanta, I think all our information here is pretty much wrong because I don't think Capella is actually starting. I think Nkongwu is.
Ngongwu
I
might be hurt though,
Yeah,
so I
he's
think Capella.
starting injured, but I think eventually he comes into that role.
Okay. Well, I think just, yeah, you're probably, I think
The
you're actually
toe
right.
injury.
However, I think looking at this depth chart, it probably makes more sense for Capella to start at the center, because Okonkwo to me is more of like a, I know he's played the center, but size wise, I mean, he really fits better at the four. But that's neither here nor there. Yeah. So, um, but anyway, uh, yeah. So we're starting with the Hawks depth chart.
Well, the
Um,
other thing is we don't have Rishacher, who I
you know,
cannot pronounce. Zachary,
the French guy. Yeah.
the
How come he's
Frenchman.
not? Yeah. How come he's not on there?
He's not
He
on
should be
there.
he should be starting over DeAndre Hunter, I think.
Exactly.
Hunter, yeah.
He's starting at small forward. So uh, immediate boost to the NBA depth chart there, but that is kind of a big add rookie wise. But I mean, the team runs through Trey Young
Yeah.
no matter
Um,
what, and that's why I have next to no faith in Atlanta.
yeah, no. And they're it needs to be pointed out, they are just completely screwed for I think the next 3 seasons. Because the Spurs own their 25 and I think 27 picks outright, and then have the 26 pick as a pick swap. Now, granted, we'll cover the Spurs at some point. I don't know what their long-term plan is, or if they're really motivated to have a better record than Atlanta in 2026. But regardless, the Hawks can't just tank. They can't trade Trey Young and get out from under that contract. They can't admit that he's never going to reach the sort of Steph Curry ceiling people thought they would have. I'm sure he could theoretically be the 2A guy on a championship team as long as you have 4 other guys who can play defense. But if he's your number one option, it's just not going to happen. And frankly, I also hate looking at him. He's just probably the ugliest star in the NBA since Joakim Noah.
Yeah,
Really, really upsetting to look at. I don't think he's a bad ball player. I don't think when he's not foul baiting, he's pretty fun to watch. But like, uh, the ceiling is pretty obviously capped there, and I don't even think it's a Harden Westbrook in their prime situation where even if he's good enough to be MVP, he's not necessarily raising the floor, the ceiling of the team, but you can believe in them. Atlanta, even at their best, was basically a 41 and win team. I mean, they just don't have it. But yeah, you want to discuss over unders and
well,
playoff odds,
I was
correct?
about to say just because we're going in on them and the Spurs, they are over under 36 and a half. The Spurs are 35 and a half.
Well, that's for
So
this
it's
year. We got to care
for
more
this
about
year. Yeah.
2026, which we haven't even gotten to yet. So, but
I'm just
okay,
saying it's already trending in a bad direction, and Trey
I
Young will probably have a very good second
well,
act career.
I will happily take that Spurs under, but we'll cover that when we get to it. But you're saying the Hawks OU is what, 36 and a half?
Yep, 36 and a half.
Oof. I would probably take the over on that with the understanding that you're literally talking about 37 or 38. I mean, if
Yeah, Boston
I think
isn't terrible.
Jalen Johnson, I think is really coming into his own. If Rissaker comes out and he's decent, he's another scoring option. Um, their bench depth is okay. Krejci, how do you pronounce his last name? Vit.
Krejci, I
Yeah,
think, just
Krejci.
like
Yeah, he
NHL.
just had he had he's one of those European guys, and the Nuggets had a guy like that a couple of years ago who all he can do is pass, but he is the best passer you've ever seen. I don't know why there's like an infinite supply of 33-year-old Slavic men who just
They
cannot
also don't have
shoot.
Bogdan on the. Oh, Bogdan is on the list
He's on there. He's their
starting.
starting. Yeah, he's
Yeah,
all right.
he's actually
Um,
coming off the bench a little more, I think.
Yeah, well, but yeah, I mean, they got rid of DeJounte Murray. I think that was the correct move ultimately. But yeah, I mean, this is a 40 win team at their absolute ceiling, probably good enough to get them like the ninth seed in the East. But yeah, I mean, they're not a serious threat here. So in terms
I'm
of
putting them a little bit over to the right on suffering.
okay, yeah, I mean, well, will suffer. I would say that's pretty. I think they need to be further on the will suffer because again, they're completely screwed for the next 3 years. They can't trade Trey. They don't own their own picks. They are going to be stuck as a hovering around 500 team, and they can't get into the full rebuild until 2028. I mean, that's a pretty significant amount of suffering, unless you're deluding yourself into thinking they're going to sign like Rudy Gobert and a bunch of other free
No, they're
agents next
shipping. They're
year. Yeah,
shipping out Trey and rebuilding,
but they
and
can't.
Trey
But
will
they well, but they rebuild, and
eventually.
the Spurs get to have 3 straight lottery picks. I mean, you're probably right, but like, I don't know.
They'll
I
find a
think they're
weird way
gonna.
to make it work with the Spurs.
They've already sort of deluded themselves into believing that Trey can be the number one guy. So I don't see them moving him until they get the picks back. I think they're going to suffer for quite a bit. Now, the more interesting question is, do they deserve suffering? I think they're like a little bit below the line.
I
And
feel bad
like,
for Atlanta.
what do you?
No, but I could.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, to me, they're not interesting enough to like hate and say they deserve to suffer, other than Trey Young's face and the foul baiting. So like they're definitely a little bit below the line, but like certainly not in the territory of a lot of the teams are going to cover. I
They
think where
might
you
get
have them.
bounced. They might get bounced up just by how many teams both will and deserve to suffer at
Right,
the end
right.
of this.
Yeah, we reserve the right to adjust this as we go.
We can start them there.
So
I think that's enough Atlanta Hawks talk for like the
Oh yeah,
year.
sure. This is more than anybody else will think about them for the remainder of the year, including probably most of their own fans. Um.
I do
Anyway,
find it very funny they've skipped Brooklyn to Boston. I think I don't know the alphabet, but we're going into the Celtics. We're
you are
going
a
into
school teacher. How do you not know that O comes before R?
well, I'd have to sing the song to now. And I don't have time.
Look, I got that shit on lock because I got two small kids. I will never forget the alphabet. All right, but Boston Celtics, we got their depth chart pulled up here. You are the big Celtics fan in one of the
That's
two in
right.
the Discord. What do you
Um,
want to talk about? The current defending champions.
they're gonna probably walk to the finals without injury. There's really not much interesting to say.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
Porzingis injury is uh is interesting. I'm more interested like if he follows his Alex Jones kick.
Ugh.
Like the outside stuff with the Celtics is more interesting to me.
That's what I was going to say. The vibes have been weird since they won the title. I mean, you got Derek White getting into a fist fight at I forget when
Well,
that
I'm just
was.
gonna put us on Will Prosper because the
Yeah,
team will
that's
be good.
right. Yeah,
I
put
I
them
don't think there's
far to
any
the left there.
I don't think there's much need to talk basketball. The only things I'm seeing interesting are all the new deals and the new
Yeah,
ownership makes that interesting in a year
it
or
does.
two,
It does.
but
Yeah,
not
I don't
yet.
think they. Unfortunately, well, not unfortunately, because everybody's sort of tired of super teams. But like the new apron rules mean they're when Grosbeck sells the team as Daddy doesn't want to pay for it anymore. The
It's
new
very
ownership's
funny.
definitely gonna break this up. But again, that could be easily 3 or 4 years down the road. And barring a true vibe shift, and there's so many egos on this team, it's hard to know how much longer they can hold it together. But barring a true vibe shift, I mean, this is the best team in the East for the foreseeable future. I didn't pick them to win the finals because I hate picking the boring option, but anything other than a Celtics repeat where everybody's healthy, it would be truly a stunning result. Yeah, I let's move to their over under because I mean you can look at the depth chart and just go. I mean,
I would guess their over under is like I'm gonna eyeball it. I had 59. It's 57. 57
57.
and a half.
Yeah,
These are all and a half. I guess it's just a little lower because that's a kind of crazy number and there are
right.
injuries. And also, I don't
This
know
is
if they're going to
one.
care.
This is one where I'd be almost tempted to take the under for but like barely under. We're going like 55, only because 55 still wins you the East, I think, easily. And like, why should they give a shit about the regular season? I mean,
I
everybody
don't
should
even know
have
if they care
learned.
about the home court.
Yeah, they should have learned the lesson of the 73-9 Warriors, where going for regular season glory burns you out. I but I still think they could probably sleepwalk to 60 wins. So fuck it. I'll say the over on that. I mean, it's yeah, 57's a real sucker bet there. Anyway, um, okay, so we got the over under.
We do. Now it's just in terms of the ego and the insanity of Joe Mazzulla, the whole
Yeah.
team, and
I don't
whether or not I can convince us that we deserve prosperity.
no, no. Go down in that lower left quadrant. Come on.
Okay.
Come on.
Can I get like halfway? I mean, look,
Lower. Okay. Leave it at halfway for now. Because there are teams that are filled with
there are
like
teams that are more evil than the Celtics.
marginally, and there are teams with
Margin,
filled with more bad people. And the Celtics really only
marginally.
have Jalen and I guess Kristaps. I mean, I don't know what goes on in Jason Tatum's head. Missoula, I think, is annoying, and I think when they stop winning, his shtick is going to get old fast.
Yeah.
But
And
you can
Missoula
be
has issues.
as Bill Belichick, or even like I'd say Greg Popovich demonstrates, you can be a crank if you're winning. So
Yeah.
Missoula can be a sociopath as long as they're winning, and they're going to be winning for the next several years. So, but I think we'll leave them for there for now, and then I guess we're
And
going to
one
move.
last thing, I do think their coaching staff stayed mostly in place, the
Yeah,
bench coaching staff,
that
which
does
is
help. That
actually
does
big,
help.
if
Yes.
I'm right about that.
Although who I feel like someone from the bench staff just got a head coaching job. Am I remembering this wrong?
I don't follow the coaching stuff enough to know.
Fair enough.
Uh,
Okay.
this
All
is
right.
by two people who have only done half the reading.
Oh yeah, some of the reading is and always will be the mantra of this entire endeavor. But let's
Move on to our Brooklyn Nets.
yep. Ooh, drink in that depth chart because as bad as that is, I would say at least a third of the starting lineup will not be on the team by February. That is,
I'm seeing a 32.4 projected usage for Cam Thomas, which is
I,
higher than Trey Young's usage.
yeah, I love Cam Thomas, and I genuinely think I think he's going to be better than Jordan Poole. I mean, he's going to have the emptiest 25 point per game season in history. But he's just another. He's one of these dime a dozen. All he can do is score type guys, and which is fine. I mean, this team they're total dog shit. I'm baffled. I mean, I guess keeping Claxton was the right move, but if you're trying to continue to develop him as a player, like what is he going to learn being on this team whose only goal is to try to get Cooper Flag or Ace Bailey in the draft? And even with that, you're still looking at a 3 or 4 year rebuild. I mean, this is just the Nets have swung and swung and swung for the fences so many times over the years, and it's never worked out. And now I think they're sort of paying the piper. And yeah, I mean, this is a bad team. I'm still not clear how they won 30 plus games with Michael Bridges, who's fine, but is I think truly like a third or fourth option on a good team. Um, but yeah, I
I'm
mean,
scouring this for something interesting in terms of players or even fantasy. Cam Thomas, the usage is crazy. I think Bojan, like the Bogdanoviches on both teams, can have interesting years because they'll get a lot of usage and shooting. Cam Johnson is sometimes okay.
he's not a
He's going to get a
fantasy
lot of
guy,
run.
but he'll get traded to a winning team for sure, along with DFS. I mean, I don't know. Even Dennis Schrader may end up. I mean, so many teams. It seems like they need real point guards. And is it Schrader or Schroeder? I always get
Oh,
confused by
I
that.
don't know. I go
But
back and
I mean,
forth on
beyond
all
that, I
these.
mean, Killian Hayes is already washed. Noah Clowney looks like he's nothing. Dariq Whitehead can't stay healthy. Ben Simmons, the
Last year of his
nano
contract.
is this the last year of his contract?
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't think we ever see him on a basketball court ever again.
I don't
If this
either.
is it, I mean, it's a real shame. As despite my online presence, I'm not really that much of a hater. And I think Ben physical and mental injuries really robbed us, I think, of a genuinely unique talent. And I hate to say it, because we do seem to have a strong Philly contingent in the Discord. I think if he had gone to any other team and any other fan base, his landing may have been a little softer. But I mean, as the Michael Jordan Kwame Brown situation goes, you can't be constantly called a pussy loser all the time on before without breaking, and that's what happened to Ben. And it's a shame, but he is truly done. And this team sucks. I mean, there's no getting around it. What's their OU for this year?
Boy, I'm gonna guess it's towards low. Oh wow, I'm super high. But yeah, it's 18 and a half.
Yeah,
I was thinking low 20s.
they will be over that if they
I
kept
don't
this
know.
team together.
Right.
But it's weird. I saw some projection article, probably on the Ringer or some horseshit website, where like every single team was projected to win at least 22 games. And that's just wrong. There
Yeah,
are three or
because
four teams every year that win less than 19 every year.
yeah, they're just spreading it out.
Yeah. These projection systems they're like too normalized. Like the math baseball, it's the same way. Like every team is between like 93 and 73 wins. It just doesn't work that way in real life. Yeah, I mean the Nets, I would take the under on that. I mean, I think there's a real chance they're a 15-win team.
I have them all
Um,
the way to the right. They're in
yeah,
hell.
yeah, they're in hell.
Do they deserve it? They
I
don't deserve anything good, in my opinion.
no, but they don't. I don't. Who owns them now? I remember their owner being kind of a shithead, but I think
Well, it was the Russian guy, and then
yeah,
I don't know. Jay-Z was a fake
Jay
owner, but
Z was a
now he's
fake owner.
not.
Yeah, yeah. I
I
mean,
could put them right on the line. Like,
I think that's reasonable. And I would even, I mean, I would even put them lower. Or do you consider that to be like a null point where they are now?
I consider that I'm just considering how many teams I hate coming up. I would
Fair
probably
enough.
put them here and then I will move them up.
Okay, that seems reasonable. I mean, they don't. Like, I think any. I take the
Charlotte is
perspective.
coming up.
I take the perspective that basically no team east of Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, deserves anything good. But like Brooklyn has never been outside of the Kyrie Irving era really particularly noxious. I mean, there
I hated it when I went to visit Mike.
you hated Brooklyn.
Well, I just hate New York. I walk around and complain about like why I would never live there and I'd be miserable. But that's neither here nor there.
I
This is
think
not
most
podcast.
normal people would be miserable living in New York, but it's a fun city to visit for 3 days. And then the
That's true.
garbage on the street and the fact that you can't order at a restaurant at a like a Chipotle style restaurant without getting yelled at starts to wear on you.
I think I was in my real self-reflective life phase when I was visiting
Well,
Brooklyn.
that's always a mistake.
It's
Okay,
always an issue.
moving
Let's move
on
on
from the
to the most
Nets.
evil team
Yep. And
we
you would
have.
not think the Charlotte Hornets, a team of that since they got resurrected as the Bobcats, a team of pure irrelevance would be the most evil in the NBA. Let's go look at
And
that.
yeah,
Let's go look at that depth chart. Let's see here. We have
nice
guy
uniforms.
connected to a murder, guy connected to beating his baby mama and being completely in denial about it, and is still asserting that she lied and claimed the horrific injuries he inflicted on her were faked. And then Trey Man. Yeah, the stench of Michael Jordan, even though he's now a minority owner, is still all over this team. And they're also bad.
They're also bad.
Their entire structure. I think this leaves off some of the rookies, like Tidjon, the French guy they just drafted should
Yeah,
be on here
John
somewhere. But
Saloon. He should be getting about 20 minutes a game.
yeah, I would put him on the rotation, probably under power forward. Maybe that's like going to be the
And
blank
they also
square. Yeah.
have KJ Simpson
Yeah,
going like
I think
12
he's
minutes a
gonna be
game.
he's gonna be a G leaguer. Oh, there they are. They're down
There's
there.
Jim.
Where's
He
he hiding?
should be higher. He's
Yeah,
probably
that's
going
I
to get
don't
more playing
understand that.
time than that.
Also, Taj Gibson just out here catching strays. I don't even have a damn profile picture for him anymore. But yeah, this entire team's theory is they were basically the Hawks and like mediocre enough to make the playoff 2 years ago when LaMelo was healthy. And that was sort of their entire aspiration. And now LaMelo has the same genetic disorder that his brother Lonzo has, where all of his below the waist anatomy is made out of tissue paper. He will never be healthy again. It's not happening. This is a team that needs to acknowledge that and blow it up. Although I think they already gave LaMelo the super max, so they're stuck with him. But yeah, in addition to having a bunch of truly evil shitheads on the team, all of their actual good players, LaMelo, Mark Williams, um, Nick Smith's not that good, but they're all just hurt all the time. Um, I had a random vision the other day because I was looking at the Malachi Flynn 50-point game that Trey Mann sometime in like late March will have a 50-point game purely because they'll be playing some team that has stopped giving a shit and everybody else will be hurt. So if we're
That
doing
feels
bold, if
pretty
we're
good.
doing bold predictions, for each of these teams, that's mine. It's not actually going to happen, but occasionally I receive visions, and that's one I got. But yeah, the Hornets fucking suck. I wish nothing good for them as long as Bridges and Miller are on the team. Um, yeah, go. What's even their OU? I
Yeah,
mean,
over under 29 and a half.
way under, way under.
They're going with,
If Lamelo's hurt, they could be a 15-win team.
that's
Way
what I was
under.
going to say. They're going with
Yeah, and
33% usage of LaMelo is
oh,
what
they're
it's
they're
trending at.
fucked.
So if he's
Yeah,
playing that much,
they are in the far bottom right
can
there.
we
I
just do
don't
it?
yeah, I don't see anybody even coming close to trumping that. They can go get fucked and they will get fucked. All right.
Yeah.
Is Dallas next?
Chicago.
Oh, I forgot about the
Chicago.
Bulls. As long so did
We're
everybody
going
else,
we're
including
going
Jerry
east.
Reinsdorf. All right, pull up their depth charts. I don't actually okay, so we got Kobe
We have
White,
Josh
who's
Giddey.
decent. Pat will never be anything. Josh Giddey. So
He's back.
is he a pedo? Like, there seems to be some conflicting information about that.
I mean, I fully believe it's worse than people think, but
Okay,
it's
yeah,
based on a
and you
lot of
think the
information
alleged
that isn't
victim,
public.
you think the alleged victim just got bought off because that does happen. I think with
I believe there are two at
oh, there's
least,
two. Okay, yeah, never mind.
but
Fuck them. All right, so so they're going to be lower on
that's
the
none of
will on
that's
the
confirmed.
deserves to suffer than I intended. But even beyond that, I mean, they're finally lurching in their slow ass Jerry Reinsdorfy way towards blowing this team up and tanking. Nobody on this team is really anything approaching decent besides White and Dosimo. Giddey will put up numbers, but I think he's basically the destitute man's Russell Westbrook. Not really a good shooter. Is it impressive he had a triple double at 18? Sure, but triple doubles are not what they used to be. Some interesting people, some interesting names in what is Lim PT? What the fuck does that mean? Oh,
Limited
limited
playing
playing
time,
time. Jesus Christ. Um,
which I think Lonzo, yeah, I don't know
well, I
what
mean, Lonzo's not even going to
Lonzo's.
play. But some interesting names there. Buzelis. I think he has a high ceiling. He can be a Wagner type,
Yeah,
like
so do the projections, by the way.
he's a
They're pretty high on him.
long way off from that. Kenny Lofton Jr. obviously rules. We love a big fat guy who can still ball. Didn't they? Vukovic is still there. What the hell's his story? He's
Vukovic
getting.
is just playing like 30 minutes a game and hanging out. I don't know. He's probably going to go down this year.
Yeah, I mean he's gonna get traded at some point. I don't see how. And then it's like nobody else is of work. I mean, Horton Tucker of
He's not going to play
Lakers
much.
fan. No, no. And then
It's going
Jalen
to be,
Smith, who looked good for about like 10 games for the Pacers and then turned back into Jalen Smith. Yeah, I mean, this is a team. I think I had them finishing 10th or 11th in my predictions sheet. And I think the East is so sort of destitute at bottom. They could probably stumble into 25 to 30 wins by accident. What's their over
yeah,
under?
it's exactly that's 27 and a half. I think is right on. A little bit of juice on the under then.
That's another under, but it's one where if it's under by a game or two. That's not one I bet on because that's too close.
I could also see this team stumbling into the play-in tournament easy
Exactly. Yeah, I
because it's
mean,
super spread out in terms of how they attack with that kind of starting five. It's not terrible.
It's
It's
not.
bad.
If Levine is back, and I don't know if he is or not, but I don't think he has like has he had chronic injuries or just like the 1 year where he was hurt?
I think he has had 2 years where he's had up and down things, but he's not full
Yeah.
Jimmy Butler yet.
Yeah, or he's not Lonzo or Lamelo, where it's just like you're
No.
obviously cooked. If he comes back and they don't trade him, which is a decent chance they can't, that team could easily win 37 games by accident and totally fuck up the tank. And in fact, their pick is only protected top 10. They could end up giving that pick to the Spurs by accident. So that's something that they need to really commit to the tank and just start dumping these guys, even if they don't get anything back. All right,
Yeah,
yeah.
I
So
think they're low mid.
Will
I
suffer. I
think they're
mean,
in.
you have that backwards. They should be ahead of the Hawks, I think.
Yeah, they should be.
And then in terms of deserving suffering, yeah, with Giddy on the team, I'd move them.
That's true.
Yeah,
It
yeah,
might be
right about
around.
there sounds
It could be
good.
here.
Lower.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's like I don't think the Bulls in the abstract
I don't
really
think their fans
deserve
deserve to
suffering.
suffer,
No,
but I
not
think they've already
particularly.
seceded enough, and Chicago is annoying.
Yeah, and
I
it's
like
like,
Chicago, but it is annoying. And
yeah, I
Reinsdorf deserves, I can't go on
Reinsdorf.
about that. You could.
He well, but the thing is, all of the teams he owns, the fans also want him to die. I mean, nobody's
Right.
defending this guy, and he needs to just kick the
No.
bucket already. Um,
But then
yeah,
the GM, the just ownership and leadership has been bad for decades.
oh yeah, yeah. The
They
Bulls, I
really
don't
don't
know.
deserve anything to come their way. By the way, this is
No,
the future of the Patriots.
right,
Um,
I agree. I mean, you had the goat, he's gone, and everything before and after is just irrelevancy. And it's but at the same time, you were the dynasty of all dynasties for a decade, 15 years. So no, nobody's it's going to be many years and probably long after Jordan and Brady are deceased, possibly in a helicopter accident for Brady because he has that energy. Um,
does
that before anybody decides you deserve anything. So yeah, I think we got them pretty much pegged there. All right.
with that, we can move on to our good friends in Cleveland,
Ah,
the
yes,
old
yes.
Cavaliers,
All
led
right,
by,
pull up that depth chart because
yeah,
there is a lot to chew on here.
led by Darius Garland, our guy, Donovan Mitchell.
Max Struess, Evan Mobley, Jared Allen. Yeah, again, the Kobe Altman has gone all in on maybe some of the worst floor spacing in the league.
I also want to highlight Karis LeVert
Yeah,
because
he's
I
still
like him
there.
as a player.
Yeah, I mean, we always joke about like the such and such game, and Levert is good for like 4 or 5 of those games a year, and is
Can I say something
basically
about him too?
sure.
He's an unrestricted free agent this year.
Ah,
I kind of like him to be a
interesting.
selfish sixth man of the year candidate here.
Oh yeah,
I don't know
he
if
could be
there's
playing for
anything
that
on that, but I
bag.
like him.
He could be playing for that bag. And then they got a guy who might be able to replace his minutes in Jalen Tyson. So that's something to keep an eye on. But yeah, I mean, either this team is going to trade Allen for like Brandon Ingram or like an actual three at some point, or they're just going to keep insisting on this sort of weird two combo guards, two centers style that will win you 48 games and it's not going to get you anywhere in the playoffs. I mean,
That is their
I
exact over under, by the way.
48. Yeah. Can
Yep.
you bet an exact? I've never even heard
No,
of
it's
that.
48 and a half.
Oh, okay. Then yeah, I mean, I guess I would take the over in the abstract, but I'm not betting that. I mean, they are literally a 48 win team as constructed. Yeah, I mean 48 and 34. That sounds right. It is what it is. I enjoy watching the Cavs play. I Spida can't defend, but I love his game. I think there's an alternate universe where the Thunder went to Kobe Altman and said, "Here are 10 first round picks. Give us Mitchell." Because I think he'd be a really great fit on the Thunder the way they're constructed. Because you need a guy who is not Shea who can put up 40 or 50 in a game if when it's
Yeah, it would be
necessary.
nice for them. We'll probably spend most
And
of
you don't
this
have to
on the Thunder
worry about
eventually.
his defense on a team with Shea and Chet Holmgren and Jalen Williams. He needs to be on a team where he can be hidden on defense. And the Cavs, they sort of have that with Mobley and Allen, but like there's nobody who can really guard the perimeter. Garland, I think, tries, but he's pretty mid. And they brought back Tristan Thompson. Sam Merrill will shoot three threes a game at 45% clip, and people will pretend he's a legit wing. It's just the ceiling is capped here. It is what it is, but I will enjoy it. Every time they win, I will post Cavs bitch in the Discord. And yeah, they are a team with no real expectations. And the nice thing about the NBA is it's so top heavy and dynasty heavy that unless you are rooting for one of those teams, there's no real reason to get caught up in the record at the end of the year. They will go as far as they can go, and I will enjoy watching them quite a bit. And once they're knocked out, I'll spend the rest of my time directing hate beams at the Knicks and the Celtics. So, all
I
right.
do think the interesting thing on the NBA is how long these rebuilds are lasting. With the Celtics being like 8 years before they won the title. As
Yeah, there's a
I still
point to
think there's
that.
a place where the Cavaliers, I think being upper mid for a long time is very good because things can break your way eventually with player movement. Baseball, you're waiting for things to break your way in the postseason, you know, puck luck
Yeah.
in hockey. Basketball, it's just if you get lucky with the player movement. I think the Cavs, as long as they're keeping this level of talent there, looking at the usage, because I love usage stats, like you're not overdoing the Max Strus stuff. You've got Mitchell leading it, Garland. Yeah, I like the Cavs, I'll be honest.
They're a fun team.
Um,
All right, so where are we going to put them?
I have them
I
here as like a mediocrely good team.
Yeah, they're mid in the sense of what mid originally meant, which was not bad, but like a average. But
Yeah,
but in the East
they're
that makes
above
you
average.
above average.
Yeah,
Well, I guess they're upper mid.
yeah.
They're
In the
upper.
East, they're above
They are
average.
they are the I make 90K a year and live 20 minutes away from an urban core of the NBA. Like you are not wealthy, but you are thriving compared to everybody else if you look at
Yeah,
the
you're a solid
right
four
hand
seed.
side. Yeah, the Cavs are not the Bulls. They are not the Hornets. They're not the Nets. I will take, I will take my 30 years as a sales manager and my golden watch and move on. Now where
Is
do
this the first team that we're going to say doesn't deserve suffering? Because I don't want to do the bit where we have everyone
I
deserve
know?
suffering.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know
I
if they're
feel
at
like
the
we could accidentally
top.
do it. Oh, they're
I don't
not
know if
at the top.
they're not at the top, but I mean, they're certainly in the upper left there. I mean, they deserve some success. I mean, they had
I
one
almost put them just
title,
right here in like a
right?
mediocre on both
Yeah,
side where they just kind of are there. They had their title,
they have their
but
title. They had
they're
LeBron,
still owned by
Dan Gilbert, who's a
yeah,
moron, but
but no one cares.
you know,
Uh,
but it's
Cleveland
but
I
you need
like
to.
as a
But
city.
here's the other thing. Here's the other thing. I think something we haven't really needed to factor in on the prosperity charts is how much is the team trying to win? Like a lot of these teams are either
Right.
not trying to win or they're fucking bad at it. The Cavs went for it.
Yeah.
Have they maxed out? Yes, but they ponied up
So
for Donovan Mitchell. They
they've
drafted
signed a lot of
Mobley
new
and they
contracts
and they
this year.
nailed the Mobley. I think they nailed the Mobley draft. Like Mobley's ceiling, I think, is a little capped, but I'd say he's a top 25 NBA player. And I think you deserve prosperity more if you are a morally neutral team, which I would say the Cavs are. Um, and you are actually trying, and they're trying. I don't know if what they're doing is working, but they are trying. So, but we will have to see how the new coach goes because I mean, I think he has like a 380
Who is their new
WAR.
coach?
He used to coach the Hornets. What the fuck is that
Oh
guy's
God.
name? Yeah, I mean
Um,
that's the Kenny Atkinson. I think that's the one thing that gives me pause because Bickerstaff. I mean, he is also the upper middle class of coaches. Like he's never going to win a title, but yeah, I mean Atkinson. Okay,
Wait,
he
was
was
there a
wait.
weird thing
Oh no,
where
wait.
the
He was with the
Cavs?
Nets. Okay,
Hold
he
on.
was with the Nets when they were really shitty for 2 years, and then had that 42 win season where they made the playoffs with who was on that team in 2018?
Was there a weird thing last year where the Cavs, like Donovan Mitchell or Darius Garland, didn't want to practice, and the coach, and there was a bunch of tension, or was that a different team?
I mean, it probably came up. I mean, that's why they got rid of Bickerstaff. I mean, okay, they clearly brought in Atkinson because he's familiar with Allen. He had that random 42 win Nets team with Jared Allen, DeMar Carroll, Spencer Dinwiddie, Jared Dudley, Joe Harris, Rondé Hollis Jefferson, Levert, and D'Angelo Russell. Yeah, I mean, somehow he put together one year where a shit team made the playoffs. And then other than that, he has never won 30 games in his career and he has a 383 win-loss record. I mean, that's bad. I mean, I
It's
don't
not
know
good.
I don't know why they're putting faith in him. I mean, he was on the Warriors as an assistant coach. Maybe he learned something over there, but yeah, I mean, this yeah, you can maybe
Too
scooch
much.
them a
There's too much
little
Cavs stuff.
scooch them a little
Or
bit further closer to this the will suffer because they should still be in the upper left, but like I'm not sure they're
I
going to
can put them as well
advance
here.
with Atkinson as coach, and we'll just have to see how that works. You want to mute Discord so we're not getting?
I
So
did.
what even is
I
that?
turned it off.
Is
It's
that my
your end.
end?
Yeah.
Hang on a second. How do I mute the entire Discord? I don't want to. I don't want to talk to
You
these people.
you right click it. Right click it.
I'm trying to
In the
write.
meantime, I am going to call an audible and have us go out of or in order and
Hmm?
do 10. Did you mute me?
No, I've not muted you. I'm
Oh,
trying to
okay.
figure out.
You said, yeah, you right click the avatar and
All right,
then
all right, all
you.
right. I think I did that. Okay. Where are we? Okay,
I
so you say
am
what?
going to have us go out of order or not do an Eastern Conference preview and instead break this up into three parts, 10
Oh,
teams
okay.
each, because I'm doing this and we are doing it that way because I need to talk about the Dallas Mavericks, the
So
team.
wait a minute. Wait a minute. Go back to the depth chart thing. So wait, by pure coincidence, because we were originally talking about splitting this up East Conference versus West Conference, and by pure
Yes, by
coincidence,
pure
the
coincidence,
first
the
six
first,
teams alphabetically are all in the East. Boy,
I
I
know,
never knew. I never realized that.
I thought the same thing.
Okay, I
It's,
think we will call an audible. We should try to stick with the East just as a matter of coherence. But I know I've been doing a lot of the talking here. Waylon, take
no,
this
you're good.
away
You're
and
good.
open up full guns blasting on the Western Conference finalist, NBA runner-up Dallas Mavericks.
Luka Doncic is okay. I'm not going to go where I was going to go. I don't want to lose my job, but Luka Doncic is a bad person. Um, and
Expand
Kyrie
on that.
Irving is an actually bad person.
Oh, I see.
Uh,
Okay.
Luka Doncic is a terror to watch. It's not fun. He's annoying. Um, I hate the man. I really I don't even have reasons for it that I can articulate. I truly hate watching this guy. I hate Mark Cuban. Mark
Mm,
Cuban and
mm.
his whole deal. I know he
Yep.
sold the team,
And he
and I
sold the
hate
team to
that.
even worse human
It's
beings.
amazing. And you know what? I hate that Cuban thinks he was right about selling the team, or I think he lost a lot of money in crypto, which is why he sold the team to the
Mm,
fucking Addlestons,
yeah.
which is like Eddie, oh, he's going to run. And you know what? He probably will run for president as a Dem in 2028, and they probably will convince themselves that
Oh
that's a
yeah,
good idea.
he's gonna have the Starbucks guy run where everybody goes, we're not voting for this asshole, and he pretty quickly vanishes into thin air here. But
So,
yeah,
besides my
continue.
hatred of them, I do think Spencer Dinwiddie is a fun player.
Yeah,
We have to bring up Clay Thompson, who weirdly not on the sheet yet, but is
Clay
there
Thompson is. What are
starting.
you talking about? He's right there. Or you're just saying
Um,
he should be starting? Yeah, that's
right.
kind of weird.
I had him moved in there. I didn't see him. He should be starting as their
Yeah,
small forward.
that doesn't make sense.
Um, it's just
Yeah.
because they're going to go 3 guards for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
Clay isn't going to hold up at 30 minutes a game. I'm seeing him
No,
projected there. That's not happening. This team can't
no.
play defense. We have Luca at 37, Kyrie at 36, Clay at 30. I'm taking issue with the projection sites there because that isn't tenable in terms of those guys' health. Kyrie has never come into a season healthy. There's no you can say, well, now he's going to take it serious. No, I mean the one reason the Celtics are going to struggle, they're going to come in. You saw all these guys' legs gone in the Olympics. Like Tatum was
Mm-hmm.
terrible in the
Mm-hmm.
Olympics. Ky- Kyrie and Luca are going to need to ramp up. Like this team's actually going to start weak, I think. And the fact that their silver bullet to that is Clay Thompson. Kyrie can probably find him open looks. And I haven't even gone into why we hate Kyrie, but
Don't
people
think it's
can
necessary for
people
anybody
can
listening to
figure.
this.
I mean, we're not 1,000 person audience. I think most people can figure that out.
And if we
Um,
get there, we're certainly going to attract a lot of people who want to actually us on Kyrie, and those
oh
people
my
can
god,
preemptively fuck off. But
yeah, I would immediately leave. Um, Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I just don't think it's a very good team. I think they overperformed last year to
mm-hmm.
even make it. I think there's a lot of ESPN led uh, need to crown them because ESPN wants to make money in Austin, where all the little freaks go. Sorry to my friend in Austin, but he is a freak.
I did like Austin when I visited, but
I
then
bet
after I
Austin's
visited,
kind of
COVID
fun.
happened, so I can only assume that's connected.
But to be fair, Austin is probably the best city in Texas, and it still sucks. Um,
I know Austin doesn't suck. Austin's a fun city, but it is in Texas, which really probably just needs to be I don't know, sold back to Spain at this point.
that'd be nice.
Yeah, my only I want to call an audible on your audible, which I think means we're in Caleb Williams. The line is broken down, and we're just running around waiting to overthrow Roma Dunze by 20 yards now. But I still have Kenny Atkinson's wiki page pulled up, and I just want to point out that when he was a player, he briefly played for a team called the Demon Astronauts. So extremely
Ooh,
important. We mentioned that. I think they're now known as just Amsterdam basketball, which leave it to the Dutch to spoil a good thing. But yes, they were at some point in their history. They had their sponsor was named a Demon, which I don't know. That's a Europe.
I do like the
That's a
sponsors
Europe
there.
thing for you. I don't know. And they were the Demon Astronauts. So, yeah. My only comment on Dallas is I spend a lot of time on Reddit's NBA Draft subreddit. As we have talked extensively in the past, it is filled with guys who have real 5'6" energy. It's a lot of just hot taking and talking over one another. But I
It's 17-year-olds who realize they're not going to actually make the league.
I think it's actually more pathetic than that. I think it's genuinely a lot of QBFR people. Like it's people who are legitimately eating the tape, but have decided in their wet brains that they know better than, say, I don't know, the GM of Sam Presti or somebody like that. But I did spend a lot of time on there in the lead up to the Wembenyama draft because it was a deep, fun draft, and it was fun to watch those guys play and watch their tape. And I called Derek Lively being better than several of the people drafted ahead of him, which he was last year, and he still looks great. I and Dallas, I didn't even draft him. I think I traded for him, and I will begrudgingly give them credit that they nailed that. I think he's going to end up being the next Nick Claxton, just one of these athletic rim running bigs that Luca can toss 15 lobs to a game and drive us all crazy. Um, but yeah, I fully agree with all of your Mavericks takes. What's their OU?
49 and a half, and it's too, I mean, I think it's too high, but I think that's cynical on them too, at least, which is good. That's right there with
Yeah,
Cleveland. That's
Yeah,
kind of a reality check.
the West is so tough. I'd be tempted to take the under on that.
I do too.
But anyway, under the suffering index, obviously deserved suffering. Yeah, they're way down at the bottom. I
One
mean,
cool thing about Dallas, the only good thing, God Jams God is still coaching there.
that's true.
Providence
And
College legend.
I did enjoy the video of him simulating Wembanyama in practice by holding two pool noodles and just waving them around in front of Luka and Kyrie. That was very good. But yeah, that doesn't offset that their vibes are pretty trash. Yeah, I would put them around where the Cavs are for
I'd put them right
Prosper.
where the Cavs are. I think they're
Yep,
a
I
four or
don't see
five
them
seed,
making another
maybe a
Western.
six in the West.
Yeah, I don't see them making another run. They're probably the 5 or the 4 seed, but yeah, I can see them going out in the semifinals against the Thunder or the Nuggets or somebody. I don't. They're not going to make another run. Okay, let's try to shift back to the Eastern Conference though. We got our 5 minutes hate out on the
Oh no,
Mavericks.
we have one more West to do.
Well, I thought we were gonna stick to. We would circle back, but and stick to the East for the remainder of
Do you
this.
want us? I don't think we have time to finish the East.
All right. So
In fact,
fuck it. So we're just
I
gonna do
know we
10 minutes.
don't.
All right, then we'll just go in order. All right. So
Yeah,
who's
10, 10,
next?
10.
Is
Denver.
Denver next? Okay.
Yeah, this
Let's
way we finish with the Warriors, and then we'll do two more of these
we're not gonna oh, you mean tonight? Yeah, yeah. No, we're
tonight.
finishing with the Wizards, buddy. This is
That's a good one to finish with.
it is. It is. All right, pull up the Nuggets depth chart because that is certainly a hot topic among the NBA Twitterati right now. Boy, they're really projecting no, slot Christian Braun, and that is incorrect. But and why does
Yeah,
Aaron
Christian
Gordon
Braun
not have?
starting.
Why is
I
Aaron
don't
Gordon on
know.
incognito mode?
Real GM struggling tonight.
They've done well to improve their depth. Strother, I think, was a good pick. Holmes would have been good. He blew out his Achilles, and I don't think he comes back. I happen to
No, it
like
looks like
PJ
he's out.
Hall. Westbrook, he is what he is in his twilight. If you're asking him to shoot at all, you're in trouble. But as a connector type piece, I think he's still fine.
I
Um,
think he's purely going to be sixth man, second unit leader,
yeah,
is
that
what
sounds
I'm
right.
guessing,
I mean, you need him if you're trying to get Jokic more rest, especially after the Olympics
which I
throughout
think
the
they are.
season. Yeah, then you're going to see a lot of Jordan and potentially Peyton Watson playing the 5, and then Westbrook at the 1, and I guess and Murray can play the 2 just fine. You're going to see a lot of that. I think. I think Westbrook easily gets 20 minutes a game. But this team is sort of is what it is. I mean, they have literally the best player in the world. I don't think he wins MVP this year because I do think
No, he
fatigue is
can't.
starting to
He
set
can't.
in.
They won't.
But other than that, I think everybody else is sort of overrated. Murray's never made an all-star team. He struggles to stay healthy. Gordon is like sort of an ideal fourth man on a championship team, which is exactly what he's been. MPJ has had his moments, but he's always had health issues. Braun, I think, is fine off the bench. Jordan will still get you 8 or 9 rebounds a game. But you know, this team sort of has the vibe of they may be the second seed in the West sort of by default because the
Braun,
Timberwolves are hemorrhaging talent, but like, is this a team that's going to win a title? I don't know.
yeah, Braun is probably going to end up starting here
Yeah, he
at
is.
the
He is.
two. So that's a lot of faith in old Christian Braun. I don't know. It's a team
Yeah.
that feels a trade away, but that trade would be, yeah, I mean, I don't know how you make any of the financials work.
The
And I'm
financials
not,
don't work. They don't have the picks. I mean, you know, I think they're sort of stuck. And I think eventually they're really going to have to look at. I mean, Gordon's a free agent anyway, right?
Gordon has a player option for the
Oh,
year.
he's not picking that up. I mean, he's going to try to get the bag. He's
Right.
got his ring. He can move on and get 180 from I don't know the fucking Pelicans or something.
Dario
Um,
Saric also has a player option.
Sarge even like he's way down in the rotation to me. I mean,
Yeah, he'll get like backup minutes.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, he'll get 15 minutes a game, I guess. But like, yeah, I mean, I think this team made its run. I'm happy for them because I think people don't really understand that Jokic, I would say right now, is in the conversation to be sort of the fifth Mount Rushmore head of all time players, along with Wilt, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, LeBron, and MJ. Like he's like people don't even understand he's that good. I mean,
Put
especially
Bill
if you,
Russell there.
what'd you say?
I'd put Bill Russell there.
I
But
will, I will never acknowledge Bill Russell, ever. Um, I, I'm not going to make a further comment there because again, we don't want to lose our jobs. But, um, yeah, but I mean, like Jokic, I mean, he's in the discussion. I mean, and it's like that gravity alone. I talk a lot about who are the floor and ceiling raisers versus like your Westbrook or your Hardens or your Lucas, who are very good MVP level players who don't make the rest of their team better. I mean, Jokic makes Jamal Murray. He made Jamal Murray his bag. I hope Murray bought him a Rolex or something as a thank you. He made MPJ his bag. I
yeah,
mean,
I agree. I mean, I
I
do think they're both very good, but not
yeah,
to the
and
extent
I think
where
passing is
they've
genuinely the
done.
most underrated skill in basketball. Certainly the way the fans treat it because they love your black hole quote unquote heliocentric players like Kobe Bryant, but Jokic is the best passer in the league right now. I don't think there's really an argument for that. And obviously, you have to be better at just passing. I mean, you have to be able to shoot. You have to be able to create that gravity. But like, I, his anticipation, I don't know if I've ever seen a player with court vision as good as him, and I include LeBron on that. Um, I don't know. I mean, the NBA is such that one guy can lift a team to a title, but I think they've hit that ceiling, and I think this is they're about to be in some trouble, and they're really going to have to figure out what the next move is. What's their
So
OD?
I'll build off that point because it's
Sure.
interesting gambling wise, which I don't love gambling, but it's important for perception. Their regular season wins are 50 and a half, so a game
Mm,
above Dallas, but they are only fourth to actually make the playoffs at negative 500. Dallas would be negative 550.
mm,
So priced in there is this possibility that it really blows up. There's a lot
mm.
of variance cooked into this team. And yeah, you can see where it would blow up. Russ would be, instead of six man, just unplayable. They get
Right.
cooked defensively. And what would happen, and this is why I see for the Nuggets a lot, is you play Jokic. This has happened all through his career. Play him, you get a lead, you put in the second unit led by Russ. Russ
Mm-hmm.
collapses,
Mm-hmm.
the
Yep.
lead goes, and now we're putting Jokic back in, and that's building and building until there's an injury or just he's out of gas by the
Right.
playoffs. And that's probably where the team
Yeah, there
trends.
was something I was reading, and again, I'm doing half the reading and a quarter of the remembering, but it was something like the Nuggets over Jokic's career have like the widest gap in terms of on off with plus minus between when he's on the court and when he's off. Like they have never had
Yeah.
a second unit, and that doesn't matter in the playoffs, but like you said, for betting purposes, that catches up to you. And the fact that he hasn't had a significant injury yet, and I'm knocking on my wood desk here, and I mean, he's coming off an Olympic year. He's already got a lot of wear and tear on his body. That was an incredibly hard fought semifinal match with Team USA, both emotionally and physically.
And third place, they went all out for it.
The
So yeah,
Nuggets, my instinct would be to bet the over on that in a vacuum, but I'm not. That's a sucker's bet. Like it could definitely go to hell for them this year. And I think they are fortunate that the Timberwolves seem to have thrown in the towel. And I don't really think any other West team besides the Thunder is better than them on paper.
I agree,
So
which is why I have them about here
yeah, but we need
for
to discuss.
success.
So deserves suffering.
So I love this team. I like Denver a lot.
Yeah.
Although it actually kind of sucks as a city
It
that a lot of
does.
people
I actually
fear.
feel that way too. It's I think
A
it's
lot of
very
people
overrated.
here go there to like find themselves and then come back and are like, it kind of sucked.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
not
Um,
huge on Denver, but
my only take on where they should belong in like the suffering index is MBJ is a massive shithead, but he's a shithead
mm,
in the way basically every other athlete is. So we can't hold that too much against him. He's just annoying. But Jamal Murray, I found out last year after the Nuggets lost to the Timberwolves that when the Nuggets beat the Timberwolves in that series the year before, like Jamal Murray went to the bar where the Timberwolves were like commiserating and drinking and just started shit talking Mike Conley, like the nicest guy in the NBA. Everybody fucking loves Mike Conley. He's considered like the
yeah,
most
people,
like perfect teammate, and he singled him out to talk shit. And like I have really sort of hated Murray, fucking Canadians,
the headmaster.
that Canada up there. It's about high time we reclaim them. We're bringing back the War of 1812 people, and Donald Trump will be president, and we will claim Quebec as our 51st state. So Murray, really bad taste in my mouth about him. He deserves suffering, I think personally, but the team as a whole, they're owned by
I've
Stan
been right
Kroenke, though, right?
about with they are by cranky, so
I put them a
eh,
little lower than the Cavs. I think the Jamal
that
Murray
boosts
factor.
up the Cavs a little.
Fine, I'll agree with that. But yeah, they'll certainly be good. There's at least a chance they run to the finals again. But there is a sense that this team has peaked. So, all right, let's. Are we up to how many teams have we got now? It's ten
We got
thirty.
two more. We're gonna end with the Warriors if we have time.
Okay, so we have one, two,
We
four.
have eight. I'm putting Detroit here just for fun.
Are we done Detroit yet?
No, we're about to.
How do we skip the? Oh yeah. Oh my God. Maybe I'm the one who doesn't know the alphabet. Okay. Okay. So now you already put them on. That's why I was confused. So they will be Detroit's
Yes.
number 9. Detroit basketball. Let's pull up that depth chart. They did actually
Uh,
add talent this offseason, right? They signed Tobias Harris and they picked up B-ball Paul basically for nothing. I mean, I thought that was a smart
Malik
signing.
Beasley, Malik Beasley,
Yeah.
Tim Hardaway
Tim
Jr.,
Hardaway. Yeah, like all of a
Paul
sudden they're
Reed,
actually sort
playoff
of
Paul Reed.
they may not be as
They'll
bad as
win
I
more than 8 games.
thought they would be. Yeah, I mean, they could potentially, if Cade, I was a big Cade hater at the end of his sophomore year. He had like a genuinely bad rookie year. If you looked at sort of dug into like the on-off numbers and the efficiency numbers, then he was hurt for 2/3 of actually really 3/4 of his sophomore season. But last year he really sort of turned it around. Shooting better, very good passer. I think okayish rebounder for a point guard. I if he takes another step forward and becomes the actual sort of franchise savior he was supposed to be when he was coming out of Oklahoma State, I think 25 wins is probable. I mean, at least enough to give some kind of hope here. I mean, they need Osser to come back from the
That's
injury that ended Chris Bosh's career. So that's sort of a
you did nail the over under again,
was it
which is
25?
it's 25 and a half. Yeah.
Yeah,
Which
I
I
mean,
think I think is too high, but I do like
I
what
would
they've done.
take the under because to me that's their absolute ceiling. And you're betting on. I mean, Cade's had injury issues. I think Jalen Duren's been hurt too, right?
I think this whole team has had injury issues. I
Yeah.
mean,
And there's
Thompson,
a
Sasser.
question of if they really get off, they have another like 20 plus game losing streak. Are they going to ship Hardaway and Harris out of town? And all of a sudden, you're back giving legit minutes to Darion Sebron and just a bunch of marginal G League guys. And I haven't been super impressed with their drafting. I mean, I think Jaden Ivey is just an empty calories scorer. I don't
Well,
see
I
that he has
want I want
another.
to talk to Osar Thompson because
Okay.
he's an insane fantasy player,
Oh
and I
yeah,
need
him
him.
him
I
and his
need him.
brother, But
I
he's
need him to get starts when I have him, and
well, but he's not healthy. I mean, he's got
he has a
blood
blood
clots.
clot.
He's got bumble clots, but he's not Jamaican, man.
It's not good.
No, it's not good. That's there are injuries like any kind of shoulder injury, I just go, this guy might actually be fucked, and that's one. And I think they may know that, which is why they sort of reached on Ron Holland, who is he was
Yeah.
fun to watch in the G League because he's a legit 110% high motor guy, but the skills are vastly exceeded by the raw talent. I mean, there's a difference between talent and skills, as I'm sure you understand. And he is talented but unskilled. So he's probably a good player to get 15, 20 minutes on a team that's not doing anything. But like if the Pistons have some aspirations of at least trying after signing Hardaway and all these other guys, I he may be back in the G League to start things off, but he's fun to watch.
Simone Fontecchio was one of the first players I've truly had to look up. Just
He was on the
know
Knicks, wasn't he?
he's a midseason acquisition from from New York, right?
Yeah, yeah. I remember him being like he's a classic, like going to play. Somehow he played 30 minutes a game and averaged 15 points, but that was at the end of the
Yeah,
season.
good
Oh no, wait,
game,
oh he
good
was on the no,
shooting.
he was on the Knicks. He was on Utah. So yeah, I mean the Jazz just dropped him, I guess, for nothing. And he's a classic. He's going to play 15 points a game and average 8 points a game, and it's fine. You got to keep in mind, the worst NBA player is one of the 500 best players in the world. So,
Yeah. In terms of making the playoffs, I wonder if there's pretty bad. I mean, it's plus 920. They're the third least likely,
yeah, I
outside
don't
of
I don't see them
Washington and
making the
Brooklyn.
playoffs. Yeah, let's
So I
move
think we
on.
can safely say they're kind of doomed, even though I do like the individual players, but
They sort of seem
who's
like the less
who's
of the sum of their parts, right?
right, and also like coaching after last year and that
Oof.
whole
Well, you can't be
debacle.
worse than Monty Williams. Who's coaching them now?
I don't remember. I'm gonna look that up.
I'll look it up real quick because the names, uh, and they're still owned by.
Is it
It's
Dwayne
JB
Casey?
Bickerstaff now. That's so funny.
Oh, okay. JB.
Bickerstaff. That's going to be interesting because to me, he is not a rebuild guy.
I don't think this team is in rebuild because I think if anyone is never gonna win a lottery, it's Detroit.
Oh
I
yeah, they
just
will.
don't think
They will never win the lottery.
I don't think God likes them very much. In
Well,
short,
certainly Adam Silver doesn't. I think their chances. They got their lottery pick in Cade, and then I think after the downtown arena was kind of a bust, I think Adam put them in the round file. How long have they been playing in Little Caesars? 2017. That's actually later, longer than I thought, because they had like no attendance. Even the Red Wings got like no fans. People do not like going to that arena for whatever reason. They should have just left it in the Exurbs or Bloomington or whatever it's called, Bloomfield Hills.
apologies to our Detroit person. I don't know if they just what the deal is with that city, but
There's a lot of deal with that city, but you know, uh,
RoboCop's a
does
great film.
it is a great film. Detroit, I don't think they really deserve suffering. I
I
mean,
don't think so either. I think it's been enough. Even I'm a bit of a sadist with these teams where I think just because you've suffered doesn't mean anything to me. It's like good, usually you deserve it. Like being bad is not an excuse for me to like a team, but I think a lot of NBA fans our age, like relatively, who were around for the early Pistons, have a
mhm.
soft spot for the
Yeah,
Pistons
people really have a lot of nostalgia for the bad boy Pistons. I really liked the
or the
Ben
Sheed
Wallace, the
Pistons. Yeah,
Sheed Ben Wallace, Tayshaun Prince Princeton's Pistons. Yeah, I mean, I think
I
you've
have
got
them
them.
about here. I think they're I
I
think
think
they're kind of nice, and
they're
plus I
nice.
really
They're
like
nice.
Thompson.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. I that was another one where I will definitely take a victory lap on him and his brother being legit NBA players. Despite the fact they very literally cannot shoot because again, Steph Curry,
Overrated.
Steph Curry and his effects on industrial society have been a disaster.
which we can
People
get to.
genuinely believe that if you don't shoot 40% from three, you're a bad player. And meanwhile, I would say Amen at least was probably the second best rookie in that class, besides Wembanyama, despite shooting, I think, like 12% from three. Because it turns out you can just be fucking Ben Simmons and Draymond Green mixed together and still be pretty good. And that is basically his game. And speaking of Draymond Green and Steph Curry, let us close out with the Golden State Warriors.
A
This
team
depth
that
chart,
deserves nothing for
yeah,
what it's worth.
you
We'll
know,
just start there.
I am
I
at
don't
that
hate
point.
them as much as other teams, and despite whatever weirdness Curry's land, I don't know if he's a landlord. I don't really like the whole like
He's probably a landlord.
anti-landlord stuff
No,
as much.
I don't know if there's a
Not that I
fan
like landlords,
base.
I just find it annoying.
Yeah, I don't know if
Um,
there's a fan base that I hate more than the Warriors fan base. I would say the Knicks are close. They have some truly disaster fans.
well, the
Obviously,
Warriors sneakily stole Oakland, and no one cared.
yeah. I mean, that
Um,
was obnoxious, and they gave over to the whole tech bro thing. Joe Lacob, besides being a generically piece of shit owner who gives to a bunch of right wing causes, is also in the fart huffing Mark Cuban mold, where he thinks he's much smarter than he is and didn't just sort of stumble ass backwards into the greatest shooting team of all time.
I can just tell all these
He,
people text with Bill Simmons.
oh God, yes. And Lacob, of course, was the obnoxious light years ahead quote, and you know, the Celtics blowing it in 2022 and not being able to contain Curry,
It's really
I
almost
think
unforgivable
it's
looking back on
unforgivable.
it.
It's unforgivable. They totally changed the legacies of literally dozens of people across the NBA.
I would hate the
LeBron,
Celtics for it if I weren't a fan.
Kevin Durant. I mean, really, almost the Celtics themselves if they didn't end up winning 2 years later. And
They still suffer
people,
from it.
and yeah, and people are still going to ding Tatum and Jalen for needing Derek White and Drew and Kristaps to win that title. You know, and the 20 and look, everything else. I mean, fucking Bob Meyer gives Jordan Poole and Andrew Wiggins a bag and immediately dips, and shocker of shockers, it turns out neither of them are actually any good. Um, you know, I this is a I think a deeply unlikable team, a deeply unlikable fan base. Um, I I think Steph, I have no real beef with him as a person or a player, but I've never understood the appeal of his game. I know there are people who hold up
Oh,
the
I don't know. I do only because I think I've had the year where I had him in fantasy and also I had NBA TV.
you will
And
always sort of hold a soft spot for any player you own on
won a
your
title
fantasy
with.
teams, won a title
If I
with.
won a
Yeah.
title with them, yeah. But I would watch the NBA TV used to. It might still have the feed where you just watch an individual player, and he
Mm.
is fun to watch just as an individual, although not quite to the level Jokic is for me.
No, yeah, I
But
mean
up
Jokic
there,
is
the
probably,
gravity effect
yeah.
is cool with
This is
Curry.
true. This is true. And but it was interesting. I was watching some clips of him and Durant, and Warriors fans will never accept Durant was the best players on those teams because it was Durant who had the gravity effect. And but of course that leaves Steph. I mean, Steph was getting left wide open, and then you'd watch like four guys rotate over and try to block and just have no chance. Um,
And for what it's worth, he's no longer fun to watch because
yes,
he is
yes,
past that point.
yes.
Just in the last season and a half, really last season. So
Yeah, I mean
he
he had that run in the finals against the Celtics, and I mean
that was his
while I
last year at that
yeah, and
level.
while I don't like Steph and I don't like the Warriors and I don't like what that title did to the NBA, he outplayed by himself one of the best defenses I think in the last 10 or 20 years, if not in league history, and it was genuinely incredible to watch. But you know, there's
And even though I didn't like it, it should be said he had a good Olympic final 2, 3 games.
mm,
I
The interesting thing about the
I barely
Olympics,
think that
the
counts.
Olympics are a little bit of a magic eye test because you can pick out any player from that team and said he was the reason for the gold. I mean, Steph, Embiid,
Derek White.
LeBron, Derek White. Derek White may be one of the most underrated players in the NBA. I will say that
Yeah,
much. But
I think I think it so much and say it so much. I didn't really bother going on the Derek White speech, but
no,
yeah, he's incredible. And
yeah,
we're gonna get into Derek White when we talk about why I kind of love Oklahoma City and Caruso. But to keep
um,
it with
oh yeah,
the Warriors,
yeah, yeah. I
their
mean, there's
Derek
nothing.
White needs to be like Brandon Pozemski, and that's not
Yeah,
it's not happening. Or
you know,
DeAnthony Melton's their new addition, and
yeah,
Buddy Hield
Melton.
are interesting.
They are interesting. Heald, I think, actually had better. There was some stat like EPG or something that he was actually better than Clay Thompson was, and when he gets minutes with Steph and Draymond on the floor, he's going to get the open looks he needs. And I think he's actually going to end up having a really good year by his standards. But if you're asking him to be 2018 Clay Thompson, you're not going anywhere. And I think this team, the vibes are just bad. I mean, the Celtics should look at what the Warriors have become to see how a dynasty level team can go, sort of go wrong. And dead cat bounce in 22 aside, um, this is not a championship caliber team anymore. Draymond is not.
32.5 usage projection on Steph at 33 minutes a game
I
at
know, and he's
36 and a half years of age.
he is not LeBron. He is not on the substance.
No,
Um,
it's not going to work.
it's not going to work, and he's going to miss time. I mean, he's had those issues for years now. And I mean,
But you
there's
want
still
to know
a
what I think is annoying is I think Melton's a great ad. I do think he can I don't know. I could see the Warriors, some of these guys like carrying decent six seed in the West without Steph and Draymond when he
there's
gets
still a
suspended.
chance. There's still a chance they finally pull their heads out of their asses
I think they're a
and
playoff team.
package Moody and Kuminga and whatever picks they have left for now. Granted, I don't know who's even on the trade market right now. I mean, remote possibility of Jimmy Butler, but I don't really see that happening. But I think if there's a move to be made, they will eventually give up on some of this depth and make it because Steph has what 2 years left in the league
Yeah, I'd say.
and his game he's not what he once was. But if you're asking him to hit an open three and make a good pass, he can do that probably until he's 38, 39. So you know what's their over under? Do we say
Yeah, I'm gonna guess it's around. See, I don't want to sound dumb, but I would have nailed it. It's 43 and a half. I would have guessed 45. Um, 40, so like a 500 team, I think to make the playoffs, they're a coin flip along with the Lakers,
you say
along with,
make the playoffs? Do you mean
yeah,
not the play in? Because
I
that's how
know.
everybody uses that, and I'm over it because
I
to me
was
the play in is
wondering
just
that.
it's the playoffs. The play on is the playoffs. Let's stop pretending it's not just bonus playoffs for a wild card. It is what it is. Stop saying you haven't made the
I
playoffs if you're
believe
not
it
in the
is
top
after.
six.
I believe it is after the play-in tournament, like
That's what
those
they
games.
say. That's what they say. Because people were saying the Kings missed the playoffs last year. I'm like, well, they didn't. They made the play in and lost. This is me being pedantic and
No, that's fair because I think they're playing team. I don't think they're top six, although I think they could flirt with it, but it's like it's
what was
weird.
their stand? What was their so that see they're a
They were
46
playing
team.
team last
Here's
year,
the
right?
thing. I think a 45 win team is going to miss is be an 11th seed in the West. I mean, I can see the Kings winning 45 games and just missing everything. So you said their over under is 48?
43 and a
Oh,
half.
43. I think they'll get over that and not by a ton, but they're still good enough to win 45 games. I mean, if Steph gets hurt, all bets are off, but that's all, that's a risk of any of these bets.
So if we're putting them on, I mean, they are, first of all, I think we went into they're like Celtic level of deserved suffering when I look
I
at the Celtics
honestly,
objectively,
I will
maybe
say
lower.
lower. I'll say lower. I
It's
mean,
nice.
the Celtics have plenty of time to catch up for the sheer annoyingness of what the Warriors have been for the last decade. But for
Plus the
now,
Bulls a little
I'm
higher.
still annoyed. I still have more hatred in my heart for the Warriors and the Celtics. Now, if Liam is going to keep talking shit in the Discord, hi Liam, we love you. Maybe we'll
Yeah.
lower the Celtics more, but they're above they're above the Mavericks and Hornets go straight to hell tier, but like congratulations, you got a D minus instead of an F.
Yeah. And
In terms of Will Prosper, I mean, I guess they're behind the Mavericks a little bit.
they are, I think, I mean, I almost I don't want to put them to the right of the line here because
No, no, no,
I
no,
think
no.
we both think they are still a 7 to 8 seed hosting a play-in game and probably
Mm-hmm.
winning it because Curry goes nuts and then they
Yeah,
get iced by the Thunder and the
there's a
Thunder prove themselves.
non-zero chance that they make like a conference, like a 2020, not 2022 necessarily, but like a dead cat bounce. They make the conference semifinals. I think there's a
That's right. I think
chance of
win
that.
a series is the chance. But
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I don't think they get the seed unless they stumble into a good 2-7 against someone who's just collapsing, like the Nuggets, if everything fell off late, which could happen
Yeah, I mean
injury
that's a
wise.
distinct possibility. Or if like the Suns get super hot and pass a Nuggets team that is just content to rest up
I'll never pick
for.
the Suns in anything.
Well, who else is even in there? I mean, New Orleans, if by some miracle Zion holds up,
Yeah, I mean the Timberwolves are going to
well,
be
they're not. No,
favored pretty high. Dallas is still favored pretty high. I mean Dallas losing to the Warriors is a dream for me. I would love that
that's a
so
little
much.
too the NBA is scripted, but there's a non-zero chance that Dallas we're underrating them and they do end up being the 2 seed, but then they run into the Warriors at the 7 and eat shit. And would that be one of the few times I actually root for the Warriors over Dallas? Sure. I have the same reaction to, the Tigers knocking out the Houston Astros, and these are your playoffs. Like, thank you for your service. Please go away now, which unfortunately will not pan out. They will eliminate my Cleveland Guardians and likely ride the vibes to a World Series berth. But that's a different
Or
sport.
clear the way for the Yankees, but that's neither
Ugh.
here nor there.
We may be getting our Subway series. The Yankees did turn it around tonight. They tied the series against the Royals, right?
They are up 2-1
Oh, they're up two
actually.
one. Oh,
Yeah,
oof.
I thought they were down 2-1 too.
Poopy.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
that
yeah.
is here for the baseball preview, which I will not be on, but perhaps someone
No,
will do.
yeah. If someone wants to preview the ALCS and LCS, they are more than welcome to hijack the Dismal Tide feed and upload something to our upload
Shared
something to our
account that
shared
I am
account
creating,
for
but
our YouTube
on
channel. We're going to have all kinds of content on here. Logan Paul will be joining us next week to discuss the Joe Biden hurricane gun.
yeah, we're
Um,
interviewing Kamala. She
if she
Sean
wants to
Arms.
split some of her benzos with us, then sure, I'll do that. But
Yeah,
all right,
I've never taken a
we
substance
have
in my life.
covered. We have covered the top. We've covered 10 so far. I think this is a good stopping point. Unlike Mike, we will try to stick to a schedule here.
We will upload this. Well, it'll be uploaded when you hear it. I'll probably cut this a little bit. And then we will be back probably late next week with the second half and early the week after that with the third.
Yep,
So the
it sounds
second
like a
third.
plan. So,
Nice. Or
but
the
yeah,
third half.
thanks for listening. You'll see us on YouTube, and I hope that I can't think of any other YouTubers. This is what happens when you are 37. I need to find a 19-year-old
Wait,
year old who can tell me who these people are.
shout out Josh Lloyd, shout out the hockey guy. That's all the YouTubers I like. Yeah.
Shout out to the people who keep uploading Mega Man long plays that I use
Red
to.
Letter Media. Those
No,
guys. I
not
like those
really.
guys. I
Immediately.
like those guys.
I
I
don't know
feel
anything
like
about
that's why
them.
my Reddit
Do
opinions
we want
suck.
to go over hockey scores real quick?
Uh,
Hockey is in semi swing. The Rangers completely beat the shit out of the Penguins. My
no,
goodness.
we're not talking
Oh, all
hockey
right,
because
all
the
right, all right.
Bruins suck.
They don't
Goodbye.
suck. They lost. All
Well,
right, we'll be in touch. Good night.
good night, people.